The Purple Testament is boring. I really did not like this episode. It has a very interesting concept, but the execution and the adventure we got is nothing to sing praises about. In this tale, we enter World War II. More specifically, the Japanese front, where we meet our main character, Lieutenant William Fitzgerald, a bizarrely annoying wuss of a soldier who learns that he has the power to predict when people die. Dun dun dun! Lieutenant Fitz, as the troops call him, can apparently tell when his fellow soldiers will perish, since he spots a bright flashing light upon their faces. The soldiers who have this spotlight effect on their noggins are the ones who will eventually fall in battle, and the ones who don't suffer no grim fate. And that's about it. This is most of the plot. Lieutenant Fitz foresees which characters are doomed to die, then he cries about it. That is this whole episode. If that doesn't excite you, then you are not going to care for this Twilight Zone tale. It is so dull and way too slow, especially for the first story set during the darkest time of human history. I mean no exaggeration when I tell you that not very much happens in this. Fitz sees somebody with the death light on them, he tries to tell people about his powers, but nobody believes him, the victims die, then Fitz feels butthurt. Rinse and repeat. Now, I will admit, a story where a soldier can see which of his comrades are destined to live and die is a disturbing concept. It is tragic to go into battle knowing some of your friends or squad mates are going to fall, no matter what you do. But this is the problem. Fitz doesn't do anything except cry about his powers. He never tries to understand his super ability, he never tries to avoid destiny by protecting the soldiers who are doomed to die, and he never even warns his unit who is endangered. He just angsts and feels sorry for himself. How am I supposed to care for a character who never does anything but feels self-pity for his own situation? Yeah, it sucks that your pals are doomed, but he never does anything to help or stop it. This guy is more pathetic than Four Eyes Jeremy. There was one scene I liked. Lieutenant Fitz tells his captain, who is very sketchy about his magic that can foresee grim events,
she called it shiny,
that his superior officer is going to die, but the captain calms him down. However, when they return from the front lines without him, Fitz finds letters and gifts for him to send to the Cap's family back home, revealing that the captain did believe in his officer after all, and he bravely sacrificed himself in combat anyway, knowing he was going to die. That is easily the highlight of the episode. Kudos, Serling. Sadly, the rest of this episode goes downhill. Fitz soon sees the death light on his own face, meaning that he and some of his officers going on a new mission will soon die too. The troops have to escort Fitz across an alleged minefield to report the captain's death, and you can all tell that this will kill them. So, our hero gives up like a punk and quietly accepts his death, where the episode ends with him and his naive troopers dying. Yeah, that's it. He doesn't try to save himself or even warn his naive cadets that they're foolishly driving straight into a trap. He just keeps his big fat mouth shut and drags his innocent escorts to the grave with him.
What the
That's it? What a frickin' pansy-ass wimp. Our hero, folks. He can see death approaching his friends, does nothing with his incredible power, pouts like a baby, and just gives up accepting death's rod up his rear instead of doing something to defy destiny. Screw this episode. The narrative is all build up to no payoff. And what did we even learn from all this?
Man, war stinks.
Welp, there you have it, kids. War stinks. All this wasted potential and hissy fits just to give you a lesson on how war is bad. And if I can be so bold, Saddam Hussein was a poopy head. I don't like this episode, no regrets. As usual, even for bad Twilight Zone episodes, it had a cool concept, but it's thrown away because the writers did nothing with it outside of a blatantly obvious moral on how war is bad.
Man, war stinks.
I do not recommend it. There is actually a remake of this episode on the 2000s Twilight Zone, but that's a story for another day. All I will say is that the remake was much better than the original. This is not the worst episode of the series, but it's not even close to exciting. It's dreary, it's slow, it's unfocused, it's unmemorable, and worst of all, it is sloppy. I grant it a bronze skull. It could have been outstanding with some improvement. However, on its own, it is a boring snooze fest that won't be achieving any medals of honor.
Man, war stinks.
The Twilight Zone.